Hey everyone, this is Lee Harris, the 40K Nomad. Most of you guys know me from Battle Board Studios. I build display boards for your 40K armies, but today I'm here to talk about my victory at the Scorched Earth Open, my list review, and the one piece of tech which allowed me to win the final match by 1 point. But first, I want to thank Eric Carcass, hope I pronounced that right, Matt Bob, the Exterminators podcast, all the people that went to building the terrain. The terrain was amazing. Painting it, building it, all the judges, and all the game stores that supported the event, and they gave away a ton of prize support. So let's jump right into the list review. I call this list a toolbox list. Some of you may have heard the term in the past. It might be new to you. Toolbox basically means you have a lot of tools to use in different situations. My list is, of course, Emperor's Chosen, which would give me the flexibility of the Emperor's Chosen strat to put another unit into a different shield host. Obviously, all Custodes can put a unit into a different kata. That's just a ton of flexibility there to allow you to do different things. You can also build your list just like in any faction to shoot people off of objectives and, you know, old 8th style where you're killing your opponent. This list doesn't have any dreads. I love dreads. This doesn't have any grav tanks. I love vehicles. They're just a little easy to kill. So in my list it has 9 bikes, which obviously bikes are really good. Everyone's seen them out there. It has Trajan, no surprise there. It has the bike captain. Once again, no surprise. However, most people put the Castellan's mark on the bike captain. I have moved that to the banner, and I've taken the Auric Achilles on the bike captain. It's not nearly as good as it was, or I should say, it doesn't appear to be nearly as good as it did in 8th with that 3-up invo. However, it's probably the most important relic I have in this list, allowing you to double move and reroll charges. The reroll charges, sure, save a command point here and there if you need to, but the double move is by hands down the best piece of tech there is. I picked this up for using in teleport homers, a little video Ryan Snyder did a couple weeks ago, but I found there's a much better use for it. Teleport homers does work. I've run it in 8 games, and I've not done teleport homers with it yet, but it is there for an option, part of the toolbox. Then we're gonna go to 4 troops, 3 Sagittarium Guard for a lot of the shooting, killing drones with the Tau before you can put the bike shots into the squad, hordes, thing like that. A shield and spear unit for ignoring AP2 while you're in cover. Really good to sit on the backfield because you don't wanna obviously have to come back if you lose your squad behind you and put a bike unit or something there. It's got some wardens for the bodyguard. Once again, toolbox feature depending on how your board is laid out. And then a single Alaris. The Alaris was really there just, once again, as a toolbox. In some games I played against Tau, and they killed 2 of my 3-man squad on an objective on the side. So the Alaris was in reserve. I dropped him onto that objective in my backfield to shore that up. Sometimes you can drop them in the back to maybe charge and eat up an Overwatch, or you can use him as a roadblock. I'm not sure if he's gonna stay in my list going forward, but it's just a toolbox feature. I didn't wanna make one of my squads, 4 guys. I wanted to keep them all at 3, and then I just figured this would be an extra piece of tech there. And then the bikes do what bikes do. They move 14 or they move 20 in Callistus. You guys know all this stuff, but damage, mobility, flexibility, that's all part of this toolbox list. Now, how this list works is, once again, probably not a surprise to a lot of people out there because, it does what it does. Bikes do all the damage. They make your opponents focus on that. They're hard to kill, so it takes a lot of focus, while everything else in your army is OBSEC, and it runs around and it sits on objectives, it raises banners, it does teleport homers, and it scores all those points. You can't just turn and shoot like you would a guard unit and knock that Sagittarian unit off the board. You have to commit to it. In a game where it's all scoring, I'd rather commit transhuman to a unit on an objective I need to keep than worry about a bike squad, especially if it's late in the game where that's going to score me the points. tons of things to do. My secondaries are always going to be banners or teleport homers. The list is designed for teleport homers. I'll put a unit or two of troops in deep strike with golden light so that they can come in the back and complete that action at the end of the turn. I don't have to worry about getting shot off before my next command phase. That's basically how the list works. Damage, obsec, score points. So a lot of the questions I got were, did you face Tau? How many times? How'd you do? Did you face Tyranids with the Crusher? How'd you do there? I did not face Tau in the Scorched Earth Open. I did face it 2 weeks ago in the RTT I won though. And just being able to, so I guess let me back up here. These events are all player-placed terrain. So I like player-placed terrain because you can dictate where you can put it, how far you can move. I have not played on the GW setup, so I really can't offer any advice there as far as movement and objectives and stuff like that. But player-placed, you can put most objectives behind something you can hide behind or leave something out in the open. Against Tau, obviously the indirect fire, they had a big unit of airburst, and then obviously all the smart missiles on everything. In cover, I guess cover doesn't matter a lot, but the shield guys with the 1-up save or just the regular 2-up save, it's really hard to shift them. I use the bikes to leapfrog to another closer piece of line of sight blocking terrain and then move up. Needed to have the breachers coming out of the devilfish. Took care of those stuff. In the end, I think I won by like 50 or 60 points. But yeah, it's just one of those games you have to bide your time. You can't just run in. Once again, with a toolbox, army, you're not trying to kill more every turn. If you take, banners or teleport homers, I took banners in this case. I had 2 objectives in the back I could sit on. And then just kind of wait for him to come to me while leapfrogging forward and putting on some threat. And then when I was in a good position, I could, spring out, and strike with the bikes, Trajan, stuff like that. Crusher, I only played once, and it was the finale. It was in the Scorched Earth Open. It was by far my hardest game. I won that game by 1 point. And the game started out pretty bad. I went first. And I moved my block of 9 bikes out. I had 2 lanes where the big beasties could get to me at. I blocked one with Trajan, one with the bike captain, thinking no rerolls, transhuman, stuff like that. One of those tough characters would probably live. My opponent though made like 6 out of 9 5-up saves. I took, I don't know the names of them, one of the big 18 wound things that runs up, down to like 5 wounds. It should have died, but it didn't. He then charged in, hit Trajan. Trajan failed all 5 saves, didn't pass anything, and obviously then could not, even though I could ignore the first wound, could not roll 16 plus 5-ups to live. So he died. That thing tagged my first unit of bikes. A thing had flown over into the back, tagged my back. So basically at the end of turn 1, I'm sitting here going, well, I have all this stuff. Oh, and then one of the other flying things hit my bike captain. I have all these things in my deployment zone. Trajan's dead. I haven't killed anything. I literally paused for like 15 to 20 minutes to think about what was going to happen. I took most of the bikes and pushed them forward over to his side of the board. Brought a couple back. Used the fall back and shoot and fall back and charge strat. Ended up killing the big beastie in the front there. And this is where that one piece of tech, the Auric Achilles on the bike captain, won me the game in this matchup. Being able to move over to his deployment zone, can't shoot or charge or any of that stuff, along with two squads of 2 bikes, made him move back to his deployment zone, leave mine alone, and so now we pushed the battle into his side of the board. The next turn, the bike captain double moved again to the flank to steal an objective he had 1 model on that was not OBSEC, knock a banner down he was proceeding to put up, and cause a 16-point swing. So having that mobility, even if I'm not shooting or charging, but just to get onto objectives. You know, the bike captain's super hard to kill. So if he's sitting there, you have to do something about it. And if you can't, well, then I'm just going to take that objective. So I didn't use the teleport homers and all. Like I said, I was thinking about doing when I put the Arc Achilles on them, but the double move, allowing to shift focus where I want it to be on the board, is what won me that game. So I won by 1 point, but the bike captain caused a 16-point swing. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. I really like the Arc Achilles. If you couldn't tell, the double move is fantastic. If you got any questions, you can find me at battleboardstudios.com. Have a great one.